神がいるかいないかなど考えるまでもない。面白かろうこの世界。
Hi everyone, today we're going to be playing one of my favorite yellow leaders, Vegapunk. Vegapunk is a 2-life leader which cannot attack, and it's an activate main once per turn, rest 1 dawn, place up to 1 cost 5 or less card with the egghead type from your hand face up on top of your life or into play. Lots of you have seen Vegapunk and Vegapunk deck lists. This particular one I made by myself. I run the Seraphim
act like an angel and dress like crazy
package. We'll get into the Seraphim cards here in a bit, but this is my own deck list essentially, and I wanted to show it off today and show off some gameplay into how it works. Now let's get into the cards in this deck. The first is going to be one of your searchers, 3 cost 5k Lilith. On play, look at the top 5 cards from your deck and reveal up to 1 card with the type Egghead other than Lilith and put it into your hand, place rest on the bottom. Next, it's going to be one of our 2Ks in this deck, the Edison, 4 cost, 5k power body. On play, if you have 2 or less life cards, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. Oh, I forgot to mention that the trigger for Lilith is if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card, which is a majority of what these cards are, except for the Seraphims, which we'll get into here in a bit. But the trigger for this is also if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card, right? But you mainly want to use it as a 2k counter. That's how I use it, at least. Next 2k counter is going to be your Frankie. Very typical, 4 cost, 5k power body. Trigger, draw 1 card, then if you have 1 or less life, play this card. Very nice to have. We'll skip over the Seraphims here real quick. I want to go over to the EPO2 blocker. Very good card. I like that they gave this card to Vegapunk, and I like how it boosts the deck up. It's a 1k counter, 5 cost, 0 power. Blocker. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Play up to 1 cost 5 or lower scientist, alright? Type character other than Vegapunk, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and if your opponent has 2 characters or less, you discard 1 card. Now, most of the time, I only like playing this when the opponent does have 2 or more. I think it's such a waste for you to discard 1 card just to have 2 cards out, you know? I always want to have a big hand when I'm playing Vegapunk. I always want to have cards in my hand when I'm playing Vegapunk, just because I like to counter out sometimes when they attack my bodies, because I love to keep my bodies. I use this as an aggro deck, essentially, and, you know, it's not worth discarding cards. Next, gonna be our Atlas, 5 cost, 6k power, 1k counter. If your life is lower than your opponent's life, this card cannot be KO'd by battle. I like this card especially, you know, with this deck, you really have to be mindful of your life, and you'll see why here in a bit with the rest of these cards as to why that is. Excuse me. And it's because of the fact that a lot of these cards' effects only work when you're at a certain life threshold, right? And so you don't want to be just keep on healing with your Vegapunk. You don't want to have like 6 life, you know, and stuff like that. I've been into a game where I've had in my locals where I've had 5 life at one point, just because of the fact that my opponent would be putting my cards into my life and I would be putting cards into my life. And this was during the early stages of me just learning how to play Vegapunk. But anyways, I digress. We'll go over to our second blocker aside from Vegapunk. It's going to be Shaka. Pretty self-explanatory. Also, the trigger is if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. Oh, I forgot to mention, for the Vegapunk blocker, the trigger is draw 1 card, which is useful at times, so can't really knock it. Atlas is also trigger if your leader is Vegapunk, play the card. Shaka, the same, just a regular blocker, 6k power. Really good card. Next card is going to be Pythagoras. Pythagoras is a 5 cost, 6k. You'll notice most of these are just 5 costs or less, so I don't really have to talk about the cost, but it's a 6k power body, and on KO if you have 2 or less life. Remember that, 2 or less life. Summon a 4 cost or below character with Egghead from your trash rested. Now, because of the fact that I've seen most deck lists, their 4 costs, they're only able to play their 4 costs and a Lilith out with this card, but with the addition of the Seraphims that I've added into my package, you're able to have a more diverse choice on what to bring out onto the field depending on the situation. So anyways, the trigger is also if your leader is a Vegapunk, play the card. Next, it's going to be the Monkey D. Luffy OP-07. Activate main, place this character in your trash. If your life is 2 or less, KO up to one of your opponent's 4 cost characters, then draw a card. Really nice card draw. 6 power body, nice to have out on your first turns. Next is going to be another KO power body, which is going to be the Nami. This one, however, I sometimes feel that the effect is not worth it, but that's why I only run 3 of each, right? You don't. We'll get into it more in a bit. But this is our Nami. On play, you may trash 1 card with a trigger from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then if you have 3 or less cards in it, draw 1 card. Very nice. 5k power. Triggers activate this card's on play effect, just like with the Luffy. Their triggers KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less characters. Essentially the same thing, they're using the card's ability as the trigger. You mainly want to have these as bodies though. Next, we'll skip over the Seraphims like I said. I only run 1 of these. 1 Yamato, 9 cost, 9k power body. It's a brick. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost that is equal to or less than the total of your and your opponent's life. Then if you have 1 or less life, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life area. It's nice to have this during your 10, if it does reach that. If it reaches your 10 dawn turn, you're able to play this out and then another body or heal yourself. I personally, I don't run more than 1 of this just because of the fact that I play Vegapunk as an aggro deck, like I said, and I'd much rather have a ton of bodies out on board and attack with all of them than have big bodies out, you know, which is why I only run the 1. But you'll see in a game later, I think, if I remember right, I was able to destroy a blocker because the enemy decided to heal themselves, which is really funny. Anyways, you'll see that game later. Next is our event cards. Sorry about that. Our first event card, the Please Save Me 1 cost, or I requires our help, is what it's called, I think, officially. The counter is if you have 2 or less life, give up to one of your leaders or characters plus 3,000 power during this battle. Very important, leader or characters. It's nice to use this to sometimes save cool characters that you want to keep on board, but most of the time, you're going to be healing this to your life and using the trigger, which is very strong, which is a play up to 1 cost 5 or lower egghead type character card from your trash. A lot of the times when I use this and I'm in a tight situation, I'll be pulling out the Vegapunk blocker, and you'll see exactly why that is, because you're able to use this trigger and then bring out 2 bodies on board. But next event card we have is Dereshi. I think this is the best searcher for this deck, because you're running a bunch of trigger cards. They're all mainly trigger cards. There's only 1 card that isn't, which is the Yamato, that doesn't have trigger. And so you can find anything that you need. And you get to pick 2 from the top 5. So it's a 3 cost. Main, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 2 cards with triggers other than Dereshi, and add them to your hand. Then return the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. The trigger for this one is draw a card, although I do find the event itself to be more useful than the trigger. Alright, now I only run 1 egghead stage. I've seen Vegapunk lists that don't run stage at all, and I think that's a shame, because the stage for this leader and for these cards is actually very strong, especially to keep bodies on board, right? Or to be able to attack with your blockers and then restand them, which you'll see in the gameplay. But it's a 2 cost stage egghead, end of your turn. If your life is 3 or less, set up to one of your characters cost 5 or less with a type egghead as active. Now, you know, that's pretty self-explanatory as to why I like running that. I only run 1 though, just like the Yamato. And, you know, only run 1 because of the fact that you can also find it in your trigger if need be, if you're really wanting to have the stage on board to save your characters. But anyways, straight into the Seraphims of the deck that I've personally added. First one is going to be the S-Snake. It's a 5 cost, 6,000 power body, 1k counter. On play, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less, other than Monkey D. Luffy, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Good body to play out with leader ability. Freeze an opponent's attack, be able to survive for 1 more round. I only run 1 because I think the other Seraphims in this package are more useful, effects-wise. The second Seraphim is S-Shark, alright? 4 cost also. 5k power, 1k counter. Dawn times 1. When attacking, your opponent cannot activate blocker during this battle. I should mention that the trigger for S-Snake is activate this card's on-play effect, and you don't get to play it out. But for S-Shark and S-Hawk, you'll see in a bit, both their triggers are you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if you have 2 or less life, you can play the card out. It has more staples to it to be able to play it out, but it's very much worth it. And so this card, Dawn times 1, like I said, cannot activate blocker during this battle. Mainly used to swing for lethal, especially if they have chump blockers on board. You know, that's why I run 2 of these. The main Seraphim that I've added into this deck is the S-Hawk. Now, I think it's very good, especially against Green Zoro, which I find to be playing a lot against, and you'll see why. It's also a 4 cost, meaning both S-Shark and S-Hawk can be brought out by Pythagoras. So S-Hawk, Dawn times 1. While your life total is lower than your opponent's, which it should be most of the time, especially, you know, to be able to use the most out of your character's effects, this character has plus 2000 power and cannot be KO'd in battle by cards with the Slash attribute. A lot of green is running Slash, not just green. There are tons of cards out there that have the Slash, and this card cannot be KO'd by them as long as your life is less than your opponent's, which it should be most of the time anyways. Such a good card. Same trigger as S-Shark. I like to get these out early, especially in the Zoro matchup, because if you play this out turn 1, play it out turn 1, turn 2, you have 3 Dawn, play another body out, use the 2 Dawn, attack, and you have a 9k swing already, right off the bat. And that doesn't end there, because if they don't get rid of it the next turn, then you have another 9k swing the next. Such a good card, and I think I would be, personally, I've been fiddling with this list. You know, this is the list that I've come up with so far that I've found to be the best version, but I think getting rid of 1 S-Shark wouldn't hurt, and adding another S-Hawk, just because I think this card, personally, I think this card is that good. But that's essentially my yellow Vegapunk deck list, and I can't wait to get into the games with everybody, so let's get into it. Okay everyone, today our first matchup is against green-yellow Yamato. We have green-yellow Yamato. Look at our hand. Pretty funny because we still got 2 Dereshis even though we mulligan, but at least we have 4 searchers total, meaning we can get all of the cards that we think or that we do actually need. Now, we play out the Lilith, search, take a Shaka, not bad. Pass turn over, that's all we can do for now. Wait for the Yamato. I think she goes all in here, right? Just to see if she can get the double attack off. No, I forgot the Izo 5k into our Lilith. We're gonna save this out just because we want to keep that body on board, you know. I think it's worth having a body out, and especially because we have 3 search cards, you know, that's more than enough. We play out the Monkey D. Luffy to knock out the Izo so they don't develop a board. Play out the Lilith with the rest of the 3 Dawn. You know, we use our leader ability to bring out that Monkey D. Luffy. Lilith out. Go ahead, search, get the S-Hawk. Attack with the Lilith and pass it back over. I think the thought process here now plays out the Onami, gets banished. Okay. We want to get out of this. We don't want our cards to disappear, you know. It would be a waste to have our top 2 life just go straight to trash. So we counter out even though it takes a majority of our cards. We search with Dereshi. We take a 2k counter and another body we can play out. And because, you know, our Liliths will be attacked for sure, they'll go to trash and we can bring it out on the next turn when they try to go for a Pythagoras when we use it to attack too. So anyways, we're just building our board right now, trying to chip away at their life, which is a majority of the time what you'll be doing, just building your board and chipping at their life, because eventually they're just going to run out of cards, right? Now, the Yamato brings out the 1 cost Yamato when you attach 2 Dawn, right? It gets plus 3k power, so it's a 1 cost 5000 body. Now they get banished after playing out the Izo. We counter out of that. We don't want our cards to be banished, of course. Luckily, we took that 2k counter from the Dureshi, right? Now this time around, I think we're taking the blocker along with the, the event. Good choice, play the blocker. They have 2 or more characters. Now we don't have to discard one. Luckily, we get a Shaka right off the Vegapunk pull. Attack in with Lilith 6k. Just subtle chip damage. That's all we can do for right now. 7k. Leave 1 Dawn up just in case we need to use the event to save one of our bodies. Now, my thought process in this game was I want to keep all my bodies on board because this is the only way we're going to win this. So they go in with Onami, 5k. I think we let this go, or we block out with it. Yeah, we block out here. I think it would have been, no, it's better to block out so that we keep a 5k body on board, because it's not like they're gonna go for our life, especially with, you know, them being 3 cards left and we have this hand. Now notice, here's one thing that I think the green-yellow Yamato, I guess, didn't notice or didn't know, that Vegapunks can sometimes run Yamato. Now that she added 1 Land of Wano card, right, the Kozuki Momonosuke, the on plays you give your leader plus 3,000, I think it is, but you have to put a Land of Wano card to the top or bottom of your life in order to do that. Now, they decided to put their Yamato on the bottom of their life, which now you look at the total of both our lives, it's at 5, meaning I can get rid of that Momonosuke blocker very easily next turn. So we'll go ahead. They attach Tudon to the Izo so that it becomes a blocker. That's the only way it turns into a blocker. Now, got the Kozuki Momonosuke. Pause here just to get into what this does. Place up to one of your Wano type characters other than Kozuki Momonosuke on the top of or bottom of its owner's life pile face up. Now I was wrong. I thought this was the card that gave it plus 3k, but that's not what it does. It just places a body on life. So anyways, go ahead, keep going. They haven't been going for any of our bodies. They play out. See, at this point in time, they've exhausted all their options. They played out everything that they can because their main game plan was to use banish and double attack, right? Just to get rid of us. And that's just not going to float. That's just not going to float, especially with our lucky starting hand with the 4 searchers, 2 Dureshis and 2 Liliths. So we got the cards that we needed. Play out the Yamato, KO the Momonosuke blocker, go in, 5k, chip away. We take the Nami off board just to, you know, clear board so they can't attack with it again. Attach the Dawn, 6k, another 6k, then another 6k, which I'm sure, I think in this situation you'd be comfortable attacking with the Shaka, just because what are they gonna do? Use their Izo blocker to attack into you? Or, you know, this is obvious that you're gonna have game next round, next turn, right? So the most that they can do is attach all their Dawn and we take 2 life, and that's 2 triggers. So 2 triggers that we can use to flood our board again. So we'll see. And turn, pass it over. It looks like we keep the Shaka blocker up, which is, you know, playing it safe. That's not bad at all. I would have gone for 6k though, just to add more pressure to either take cards out of their hands or get rid of the blocker. But this is me playing, so I can't really. And there you go. They gave up on this round because of the fact that they have bricks. They have 2 cost events and 1 2k. The Yoro Yoku, I think it is, or something like that. I forget. I forget what that card does. But anyways, this was a GG on this end. Now let's go. They are running a Hody in this match. I'm surprised I think they were looking for the Hody, or they didn't draw any Hodys yet, which would have made a huge difference. It would have made such a huge difference if they played the Hodys out and just kept on going for our life. But I don't think it mattered in the end anyways. So that was a GG. On to the next one. Okay everyone, into our second matchup. It's going to be against Red Shanks. Now this is the hand that we get, 2 S-Hawks, the 2k body Edison, Yamato, and an event. And this is such a strong hand, I think, especially against the Shanks. Shanks is slash, if you remember, and you're now going to see the power of the S-Hawk and why I think it's such an underrated card. So let's go ahead into it. Play out the S-Hawk first, of course, we keep this. Deploy, pass over. Now, I don't think they have anything that they can do in this particular turn. I don't think they run any 2 costs unless they have a searcher. So they're going to pass that back over to me. We take this, attach 2 Dawn. Now S-Hawk becomes 9k. So 9k into a 5k, right? And we leave 1 Dawn up for our leader ability. They take, we leader, deploy the another S-Hawk. Now you see where this is going. This is actually starts to go downhill from here. Now on the 4 Dawn turn, they play out the new Shanks from the starter, not the starter deck. I think this is from OP12. The OP12 Shanks, where it's a blocker and it's activate main once per turn. You can discard or trash a card, and give minus 2,000 power to an opponent's character. I think it's just character. I'm not 100% sure. I don't play Shanks that much. But anyways, they attack into us, which I think is a huge mistake. You don't want to attack into a Vegapunk. You want to starve them, and you want to build your board and eventually take them down. That's how you want to go against Vegapunk. But anyways, we take this. Of course, we always take it. Now, we luckily get another S-Hawk, and you see where this is going, like I was saying. We're going to be developing 3 S-Hawks. So we take this, we trash the Pythagoras. Yep. Now we have 3 S-Hawks on board. Now see, at this point, we attach 1 Dawn to each of these. That's 8k bodies. 3 8k bodies. See how powerful this card is? So go ahead, attach 1, swing, 8. I think they counter out of this, or they use the activate main of their Shanks, which is kind of annoying, which is why we get rid of it here later. We have 2 events in our hand, really good for us. I'm going to kind of speed this up a bit just because I think he takes a while to make a decision. So times 2, he minuses with his leader ability, trashes a card, minus 2,000, 5k, and then he counters out with a 1k. Yep, perfect. Back, we're going to swing again, 8k. I think they take it this time. No, they counter out, I forgot. Plus 2k, 2k. Now we attach 2 because we only need 1 for our leader ability, right? So now we have a 9k swing. 2 8ks and a 9k swing. Crazy. He takes, I think we add the top of life, right? Yep. Event, just in case they don't, because they can't go for our bodies, right? We have less life than them. And I wouldn't have added a life on top if they had just 2 life, because then our S-Hawk is useless. So you always got to be mindful of the amount of life that you have. Now that because they had 3 life, I was comfortable putting 1 more because I know they can't attack with both of their Shanks, the leader and the character, into our bodies on board. So they're obviously going to try to go for our leader, which they wrongfully did last turn. So let's go ahead. Boom. They get the Lucky Roo out. Obviously on KO, 6,000 power or less is gone. They use to take out the S-Hawk. They don't attack into us, I'm pretty sure. Oh, here is what happened. I don't think my opponent read the card per se, because it says KO'd in battle by cards with the slash attribute, and the leader Shanks is slash. So it ended up being null and void, which I think tilted him further after knowing that, because he wasn't able to read the card. So anyways, we go into our turn. I think the turn here is to play attack first and then play out the Nami to get rid of the Shanks. So we go attack in 10k. They're gonna use the Lucky Roo to KO one of our S-Hawks. That's what I would do at least, so that it's 1 less attack, which is exactly what they do. KO one of our S-Hawks. Perfect. Deploy a card. We're going to get rid of that other blocker just so we know that they either have to counter or let this attack go through. Attach 3 Dawn. That's 10k. 10k. Now they're not going to counter. I don't think they want to waste cards. So they take. And we pass this back over. Now, here's one thing I think would also be a good play in this, is to save that S-Hawk and leave their life at 3. It stops them from having one more card and maybe getting that one card that they need to play out. And it also saves the S-Hawk that's already rested, because they can't KO it if we have less life. So I think I was just being a little greedy because I thought the Shanks didn't know what he was up against. I don't think much people see the S-Hawk, card. So anyways, that would have been another good way to get through to it. Next, they play another Lucky Root and another blocker. So we go ahead. Our next Dawn turn is going to be at 9. So you know what happens. We have the Yamato in hand. There's 4 total life cards. What do? Well, we get rid of one of the blockers, and one of those blockers is going to be Sanji. We don't want to take out the Lucky Root just yet, but I think either way, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have just taken out a S-Hawk anyways. So go ahead, attack with the S-Hawk, 5k, minus 1000, right? Leader effect. Well, I think we go through this a bit. Oh, yep, minus 1k, attack for 5. They should be using the blocker, I personally think, to get one S-Hawk off the table. Yep. Boom. S-Hawk gone. Nami swing. I think here we save this. We save this so that we have another swing on next turn. We do go ahead and swing. I was wrong. Me commenting on my own gameplay. So we swing with the Nami 5k, they take. They play out the Shanks 9 cost along with the Utah blocker. Now, the reason why he's able to play all these big bodies out, I don't know if you notice, one's a 9 cost, one's a 6 cost. Shanks becomes minus 3 cost if we on our end have a 9,000 power or 8,000 power or more power body. They're able to give it minus 3 cost and play it for 6. And then the Uta, if they have a 8,000 or 9,000 power body or more, they're able to give it minus 3 cost in their hand. So that becomes a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8. How are they able to play? See, I'm not really 100% sure on the Shank cards. Like I said, I'm not a big red player. I don't play a lot of red, but I do know a majority of the cards that they have and what they can do. So they go for our Nami. We let that slide. I think they were petrified at the fact, or traumatized at the fact, traumatized that they weren't able to get the S-Hawk last time, which is why they didn't go into it. But also, they're at 1 life, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Go ahead. They have 1 blocker. We save 1 Dawn for leader ability, and then we are doing the math here, seeing if we can go for game or seeing what we have to do. So we deploy the Egghead. I do this because of the fact that I know I'm going to attack with the S-Hawk and I still want to keep a body on board, so we bring that out to make it stand at the end of our turn. We go ahead, attach to our S-Hawk, go for 10, and then go for 11. We don't use our leader ability because there's not really much we need to do. So they use the blocker, which gives me, a good sign knowing that they can't counter out of that. So now we're going to go for 10. I would have gone for 11 here, I think. But yeah, I think we use leader ability, bring out a body. Yep, Pythagoras, and then leave 1 Dawn up for the Iru Quasar help. So now we pass it over to them, re-stand our S-Hawk. They bring out the Lucky Root blocker, and I think they bring out another one here. Yep, they bring out another one, 2 Dawn left. There's not really much they can do at this point, especially with that early game development. Those 3 S-Hawks really are what did this game in for us. Which you can see why I love this card and why I think we should run 4 of it instead of just 3. Now he takes a while here, so I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a bit. goes for 5, which you should never do, you know. That just gives me more bodies on board. So what we do is we take out the Nami. We take out the Nami to trash a trigger and get rid of one of the blockers. Perfect. Now, hopefully, they're bricked up. They swing for 11. We're going to save this with the I requires our help. 12 plus 3k makes it 12. And we have all our bodies on board. Now, this is where we go for game. I'm pretty sure we save 1. Dawn just in case for leader ability. We search 3 with Doreshi just to see what we can do. We're mathing it out, you know. 2k, 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 and a 9k, so 7k. They block. Nope, leader ability. They use the Divine Departure. 7k again. They should be blocking here soon because I think they're bricked up. Nope, they use the 0 cost event. We go for 8. Blocker, no. They counter out. Perfect. Now they have 0 cards. We swing in. 9. We use Doreshi. Fill up our hands with a 2k and some. We don't get any 2ks, but we do get blocker and a searcher. Take that out. Bring out the blocker. Boom. We've developed our board. Restand the S-Hawk and we're good. Done. They have 1 card. What are they gonna do? They can't go for game. Although I think this is the match where they could have won. Yeah, now I'm starting to remember. They could have won this, but they misplayed, and I think it's because they were tilted because of the S-Hawks. Now you'll see here, I think what they're supposed to do here is attach Dawn to leader, 9k, perfect. We'll have to take this or block. So we block, or no, we take. Take. It's not a good trigger, but we do use it because we want to see if we can get a 2k. We don't get it. They end up attaching all their Dawn to Shanks, and you can see my mouse pointer here. I'm like, why did they do that? What they should have done to get game is attach 6k to Uta. That's 8k. 8k to our leader. We'd have to block out of that. We can't counter out of that. 8k, and then 10k to us, and that would have been game. But because they didn't notice the shaka, or they just weren't thinking about it, or they were just tilted in their mind, this got us the game. Yep, they quit right after. Boom, done. Now that didn't feel like a good victory, but a victory is a victory nonetheless. So good game with the Shanks, and we're on to the next one. Okay everyone, we have our next game. It's gonna be against Blue Nami. Now Blue Nami, you know, I love the card. I love that it's a different way to play the game, and like I said, I play this card game because I love all the different ways you can win, and I love all the different leader abilities, and I think it's great for that reason. So we play out the Rocket Luffy, and I know we bring this out because of the fact I want to have my KO bodies, because I know they're gonna have, when attacking bodies, like their 1 cost Nami. See, when I don't want them to be gaining cards. So in this next turn, we're gonna swing for 6, KO, take the Nami out, and then develop another body. So we'll go ahead and speed this up a bit. They attached 1 Dawn, which I'm not sure why they did that. I thought they would have swung for sure. I would have taken, honestly, just because I wanted another body on board, but it is what it is. Attach 2, swing for 8, KO, because we have 2 or less life, KO the Nami. Boom, get another draw, deploy a card. We deploy the Atlas, you know, because it won't be able to be KO'd, so. Pass a turn. Next Dawn's gonna be 5. And they have a Mr. Hanger and a... I think they have another card here that gains them... I think it's a Kaya, draw 2, trash 2. No, another Nami and a Apis. Apis? Anyways, we want to get rid of these bodies because we don't want them to be able to trash, draw one, and gain events. And see, I don't know why they did this. They so early on, they only have 3 cards left, and I don't think that's good for Nami. So they swing into us. They didn't attach one. We take, because then their leader ability won't go off, and we gain a body. So there you go. Now we have 2 6k bodies on the board. I think in this situation, we swing first into the, get rid of it. We don't want him to be using it. We use the Dareshi to get the bodies that we want. Another Luffy, because I know we're going to need to KO some more bodies. Bring out the Rocket Luffy. KO the Nami, so he can't use it the next turn. And then swing for 7 into the Nami with our Atlas. No Dawn up, so they're going to have to take it. Unless they want to counter and lose 2 cards, right? So now they're at 3 life, we're at 1. We have 2 bodies on board. Let's see what they do. They use Peel Off. They don't even, I remember this game, they don't even get less than 20 cards. So the person that's playing this Nami, I think, is like fairly new, or they just had bad draws, which, you know, it happens. So now, in this instance, I thought it would be good, instead of trying to KO it with a Nami and losing a trigger body, that I would just freeze it, so it wouldn't be able to attack next turn, right? So we go ahead and do that. Deploy another card. We deploy the Shaka. Attach 1, 6, 6, 6. 3 6k swings. And we're fairly comfortable here being at 0 life, because really we have a blocker on board and we have so many cards in hands. 2k counters and the rest 1k counters. So there we go, they counter out. We swing with 6k. They have to take or counter out with the 1 card they have left, which they don't do, of course. They're at 2 life. We're at 0 life with 1 blocker. They Kaya, draw 2, trash 2. They don't go for any of our bodies, which is very, you know, not good. They have 2 cards left in hand. So they attach. They swing at one of our bodies, I think. Oh no, they swing at us. We counter out. 2 2Ks and a 1K. Here's me thinking about it. And we do not use the blocker because we want to try to go for game. So we do 2K, 2K, 1K. Yep, get rid of the Vegapunk blocker, because we're not going to be seeing that using that anytime soon. Place a, I think we place this into life, right? Pythagoras. I think, no, we do the Atlas. I think we could have gone Frankie. That way we would have been able to play out a body and draw 1 card just for that extra, you know, counter. So that would have been good too. But Atlas, same thing. So we have 2, 2, 2, 2. We attach 2, go for 7. They have 3 Dawn left. They use counter, Love Beam. Draw 1 card. We attach another 2. That's another 8. 7, 8, and 8. I think we get a little greedy here and swing with our Shaka. Go 8. Now, I remember this too. I do swing for 8 and then I swing with my Shaka. But I don't think, playing it safe, you don't swing with the Shaka, obviously, because they have the counter. Of course they would. So we swing in with Shaka, but lucky for us, they didn't have the counter and they couldn't use any. They were at 0 Dawn. We swing. All they needed was a 2K for this. I was, you know, just being really greedy. We wouldn't have died anyways unless they attached a bunch of Dawn, which, you know, I guess they could have, but we could have countered out. They would have attached a bunch of Dawn to their characters, which wouldn't have mattered. We swing for 6K. They have a 1K and no counter. So, lucky for us, they exited out of that. We got greedy with the Shaka. Usually you just want to play it safe, leave the Shaka open, and yeah. So you can see how Vegapunk is really fun to play. You're essentially just flooding the board and using your character effects to get rid of their characters and swing and chip away at their life. So on to the next and final game. the blue-purple Luffy. Okay, everyone, we have our last match against the blue-purple Luffy. Now, this was usually most of the time, if you're up against a good blue-purple Luffy player, you're not going to win this matchup. You're just not. They have God Threat, they have, you know, Raging Tiger, Raging Blade or whatever, Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, and you know, it's such a big body they can just get rid of all of our bodies. But I think we got lucky in the way that we played at the beginning, at the start of this game, and the Luffy just ended up countering out too early or bricking really bad. So let's get into it. I think we mulligan this. Or no, I think we keep this. No, mulligan. Okay. That would have been a good hand too. I don't know what I was thinking. I think because I thought we would need a Monkey D. Luffy or a, you know, Searcher, and to be able... No. I don't think that's it. Let's go back. Yamato, 2 2Ks, 1 S-Hawk, and 1 event. And then we end up getting the same thing, 2 2Ks, 1 Nami, 1 event, 1 Searcher. So, you know, I don't know what our thought process was on that. Either hand would have been a good keep, personally. So we go out, play the Nami. It's the only thing we can do. We don't pitch anything. Pass it over. Lucky Ruse on there for some reason. Okay, we play out the swing for 7 first. You know, don't have to tell people that play this game, you always have to be wary of the, I forget what you call it, what you do, right? So you want to be attacking first, just in case if they do take life and they have a leader ability, it doesn't affect cards that you play out. So we go ahead, attach 2, swing for 7. They don't take, they counter out, I'm pretty sure. We bring out the Luffy, pass the turnover, wait to see what they do. They attach all, we go for it, we take, because that allows us to develop another body, and we can't even counter out if we wanted to. So luckily we got Pythagoras, bring him out. Now we have 5 Dawn to work with, use 3 for the Dureshi, and we have 2 Dawn to work with. Attach 1 Dawn to Nami, swing for 6, and then swing for 7. So 6, 6, and then 7. Oh, guess we don't. Maybe because of leader ability. Yeah, I was wrong. Use Dureshi, get what we need, and I see the Atlas and the Lilith. We play out the Lilith so we can find another body that we need, which is, you know, preferably a 6K body, 6K power body. Get this. I think we don't need the Vegapunk. We get the Edison just for a 2K, just in case they try to go all in again, right? You don't want to go too low with Vegapunk. He's not clearing our board, I think, which is part of the mistake on his end. I think he thought just because he had bigger power, and see, this is where, to finish my thought, he had bigger power, he thought he could just, you know, outpower us and rush us down, but that's just not how it works. At this point in time, he plays 6 costs with a Sanjay blocker. Now that tells me one thing. He's running low on not just counter, but he's scared because he doesn't want to lose any more life, right? And he probably doesn't have the cards that he needs, which is why he wants a blocker out there very early. So, and it's a 2K counter blocker. You want to be keeping those. We counter out 2K, we save the bodies that are on board. Of course, we save the bodies out that are on board. So now, we play out. We do our swings first. We use 1 for leader ability, and then 5 for another body, but I think we try to just swing big here, attach 2 to each, so we go 6, 6, 7, 7, or 6, 779, no, 6778. I think that's what we do here. And I think this is the last round too. Because look, they're at 4 cards, they have 1 blocker. Not much you can do here. Taking my sweet ass time doing the math. 7. They take, do another 7. Yep. Now they either 2k, but they end up using the Sanji blocker, see? We do another 2. 7. Now see, we leave 2 Dawn up. Why is that? Well, we want to save the bodies that are on our board. So we use our leader ability, bring out another body, and then we have the 1 body up, 1 Dawn up for Iron Quasar Hell. And we have a bunch of 2Ks in hand. So we want to keep this board because next round we're going to be going for game. Develop a body. I think we bring out the Atlas, right? Yep, take out the Atlas, end our turn, pass it over. He's only at 8 Dawn. He hasn't even used his leader ability left. See how fast and aggro this deck is, especially if you can build your board early. But we're also, by the way, just lucky because he bricked up. Look at his hand. Sanji, Luffy, Monkey D, Luffy, Rush, Charlotte Linlin, God Thread, Gear 2, Pudding. He wouldn't have been able to counter out the next turn, and he didn't have leader ability. He couldn't play a Linlin to heal. All he could do probably was play out a Rush Luffy or God Thread us and save Dawn for Gear 2, right? So, all in all, great match. Very aggro, heavy deck. My deck list, especially with the Seraphims, I think is a great addition to this. Makes the deck more fun and be able to contend more with the meta with Green Zoro and Monkey D. Luffy BP, as you see. But this was just one-off game that we got lucky in because our opponent bricked up. Anyways, those are all the games for today, and thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.